What is up, guys? Vivi back with another video, another deck tech video, talking about pretty cool cards here. Whoops, got this thing a little off center. There we go. Pretty cool deck we're gonna be looking at today. We're looking at a blue Crocodile deck, and it got first place in what looks to be a very small tournament in Malaysia. This was on 6/19, or at least when it was submitted. It looks like there was about 8 people in the tournament. You know. Excuse me. It's still an interesting looking deck that we need to talk about because I think this is a pretty decent deck, to be honest. Like I think it's actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and let's get right into it. So this is again first place in about an 8-person tournament. We got a blue Crocodile deck. First, so let me go through the whole deck first, then we'll talk about it. So he's running 4 Centamarus, 2 of the 7-cost Doflamingo, 4 of the Vanilla Pacifista, the 4-cost 6K, 1K counter, 3 of the blue Miss All Sundays. We'll talk about what each one of these cards do, what they do after I go through them. Then 2 more Pacifistas. This time it's the 4-cost 5K blocker, where you can have any number of them in your deck. 4 of the 2K counter Kaya, 4 Sogi King. Man, people must love this card. I see this card pop up all the time. 4 of the Alvida, 4 of the 3-cost Doflamingo, the blocker searcher, or the blocker, you know, it's not really a searcher, but, you know, the look at the top 5 cards. And then you got 4 of the Dracul Mihawk, excuse me, the 9-cost, the big boy. 4 of Boa Hancock, the blocker, the 4-cost 5K. 2 Kaido, 10-cost 12K. And then you have 3 of the Sasaki, which is a new 2K counter. I think it's new. I think count OP-04, right? Let me see. We'll just look them all up real quick. There we go. All right. Yeah. It's and this is the one where you discard your hand to draw a new hand. Right. Let's just messed it all up, guys. I'm sorry. Messed up my little search I had over here. I had it all set up. Okay, there we go. So it says on play, return all cards in your hand to your deck and shuffle your deck. Then draw cards equal to the number of cards returned that to the deck. So it's a 2K counter is what it is, guys. And then if you just have an awful hand where it's like, okay, I'm in trouble. It's also a shuffle, right? Draw cards. So you shuffle your deck. Right, you return all the cards to your deck, then you shuffle. So anything you might have had to bottom deck with like a Doflamingo search, or maybe that your opponent pushed to the bottom of your deck, no problem. You can just use this ability and shuffle your deck and have a better chance of getting it. This might be a really good tech card, like to run as a 1 or 2 of for 2K counters in a Rebecca deck, because there are times where you put things back to the bottom of your deck with Luffy, where this card might have a lot of potential there. We'll see. Excuse me. So let's keep going. So then they run 3 of the 3,000 Worlds and 4 Red Rocks. Really, very clean list, I have to say. Very clean list. Now, how is he... I wonder why he's running these... All right, so let's go ahead and read what each one of these does. Right, so Miss All Sunday. That's the first one we'll do. Right? Whoops. So, Miss All Sunday is a 3-cost 1K power, 1K counter blocker who has on KO, if your leader is Baroque Works, which of course Crocodile is, add 1 event from your trash to your hand. That's nice. Some recursion for your 3,000 Worlds and your Red Rocks, right? Obviously. Okay. Pacifista we don't have to read. Let me read the Centamaru guy. Let me see. One more thing. Yep. Centamaru. There we go. Helps when you spell things properly. Okay, so Centamaru is a 3-cost 4K with 1 Dawn attached and pay 2. Activate main once per turn. Okay, that was a lot. It's not when attacking. It's activate main once per turn. Attach 1 Dawn to him and pay 2. So 3 Dawn investment. Play up to 1 Pacifista with a cost of 4 or less from your deck, then shuffle your deck. Okay. Okay, I got you. Yeah, this is from back in the ST-03 deck. Interesting. So this has been around for a minute. I don't run a lot of blue, guys, just being completely honest with you. Also, some of these cards, like, they've been around forever. I didn't even know it. Very cool. I was saying, because there's a black Centaur as well for Navy, and him, of course, I know about. But okay, the blue version is much better than the black one. We'll say that right away. But he has a pretty decent ability here. I was wondering why he was playing the Pacifistas. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, why is he running Pacifista without running, like, I don't know, the what's it called? Not Crocodile, the Doflamingo leader, right? Is he the one that let me see. The Doflamingo, I believe, is the one that can. Well, no, he does the 7 Warlords of the Sea. I don't know what I'm thinking of, guys. Y'all tell me in the comments below if y'all know what I'm even thinking. There's a card I'm thinking of that can throw these into play. It's the other Pacifista, right? I think that's what it is. Yeah. The other Pacifista, Bartolomeo Kuma. That's it. And he is a 7 Warlords of the Sea. That's what I was thinking. I knew there was a special synergy there. And then he has on KO, play with one call. Add up to 1, cost 4 or lower Pacifista from your hand. Excellent. Okay. And I'm surprised he's not running that. This deck here, instead of the Centaurus. But, I mean, this deck is, this person knows what they're doing. That's for sure. So we'll talk more about it at the end. Let's also talk, there's 2 other cards I want to talk about on here. Or, actually, yeah, there's 2 more. So, Alvida is the first one. We already know what Kaya does. We already know what Sogi King does. Alvida, this is a OP-01 card, okay, and it's a 2K counter. Okay, that makes sense. It's a 2K counter to run with your Kayas, to run with your Sasuke, so you have 10. She has Dawn ×1 when attacking. You may trash 1 card from your hand, return 1 of your opponent's characters that cost 3 or less to their hand. Okay, a little bounce effect here. Not really. I would actually rather them run 4 Sasukes instead of the 4 Alvidas. So 4 Sasuke, 2 Alvidas. The immediate change I'd make just reading these cards. Anyway, not a big deal either way. So very interesting setup here. They run a lot of removal. You're running 4 Dracula Mihawks. You're running 2 Kaidos. You're running 3 3000 Worlds and 4 Red Rocks, along with 4 Sogi Kings and a Crocodile. Okay, Crocodile's main ability, let me read that for those who don't know. That is also a bounce effect. Again, I don't like to missay these abilities. Okay, Crocodile has Dawn ×1. I'm reading the blue-purple one. That's hilarious. Sorry, guys. Here he is. He has Activate Main. I was saying, wait a minute. This isn't right because I knew it was Dawn -4. Activate Main, once per turn, Dawn -4. So remember, you're not paying any Dawn. You're returning Dawn to your Dawn deck. And then it's return up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. So it is the owner's hand, so you can bounce your own stuff if needed, if necessary. It's nice to have utility. It's always good to have extra utility on cards. But yeah, so this is just a full bounce deck. You're just, just bounce you, bounce him, bounce her. and then you just keep rocking and rolling. And you have a pretty decent defender package. You got 3 Missile Sundays, 2 of the Blocker Pacifista. You have 4 of the Boa Hancock. That was the other one I wanted to talk about, was Hancock. She has, this one in particular is Blocker. It's the Blocker one. Well, that isn't, there's another block one. But this is the OP-01, 4 cost 5k blocker that has Dawn ×1. When attacking or on block, if your hand is 5 cards or less, draw a card. So very good for drawing cards. Because one thing I will say this deck sort of feels like it lacks is card draw. It doesn't have a lot of card draw, right? With the blue Doflamingo deck, excuse me, Doflamingo, he doesn't need, how do I say this? He kind of generates his own card draw, pseudo card draw, by playing cards off the top of his deck by using like Perona and Doflamingo 3 cost just to get things going for him, right? This deck doesn't really have any card draw at all. It only has Boa Hancock. And that's something I always look for in a deck. Like, yes, this deck does have a decent amount of cycle in the Kaya and the Sogi King if they need it. Same thing with Sasaki. But none of these cards are drawing you. They're not generating hand advantage like Boa Hancock does. So, And it's also not running any kind of 4K counters, 2-cost 4K counters, which is interesting to me. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert on playing the blue decks. I'm not at all. I know a lot of their cards, especially once I saw Rebecca was revealed, you know, like months ago now or whatever it was, or maybe it was a month or two ago. I started, you know, really brushing up on the blue cards. And of all the cards that I really like in this deck, I'm just going to say the cards real quick that I think are good. Red Rock, 3000 Worlds, Kaya, Sasaki, Kaido, Bo Hancock, Mihawk, Doflamingo. Alvita's just a 2K counter. It's whatever. I don't know if I like the Kuma package, the Pacifista package. And I get it with Sentimaru. I do. I really do. Because remember, Sentimaru doesn't have to swing, so he's not ever he's not putting himself at risk, right? I mean, it's very easy. Don't get me wrong. It is very easy to get rid of a 3-cost nowadays and a 4K power at that. Like, that's very easy to get rid of. If you need to, if you even need to, right? But his is Don 1, activate main, once per turn, pay 2. Yeah, so he doesn't actually, he himself doesn't rest. You just use the Don. But it's a 3 Don investment to play a 4-cost card, which, you know, it is a discount, which is always, you can never look over a discount when it comes to cards. Anything that discounts cards, of course, is important. But in this case, you're just trying to get your Pacifistas. Here's what I don't like about the card. It's going to be turn 4 anyway, right? Well, actually, no, it's going to be more than turn 4. So if you get him on the, if you're on the play, which means you went first, you're on odd numbers. So you play him on turn 3. Well, next turn is turn 5. You'll have 5 Dawn, right? You're going to play the Pacifista then anyway, right? Like, you'd have been able to play the Pacifista anyway. And this deck's not even sitting on counters where, like, oh, okay, well, if I get the 1-point discount, then I'll be good, right? So that's the first criticism I'll make, is they need to add 2K counters in the deck. This is my opinion. In my opinion, they need to add 2K counters to even justify running the Sentimaru Pacifista package. What else? I love the Miss All Sunday thing. That's really nice. That would also give you more recursion out of your graveyard. And I actually think they need to go down a Red Rock. I think since you run the Miss All Sunday, I would go down a Red Rock for another Miss All Sunday, to be completely honest. Like, because your Miss All Sunday is going to, you know, in the end, she's going to garner you more utility, because you're going to get your Red Rock, and then you're going to get another Red Rock from her being KO'd. Or 3000 Worlds, either one, doesn't matter. What else? I love the 4 Draco Mihawk, big fan. Love the 2 Kaido. Love the 2 Kaido, 4 Draco Mihawk. Love the 4 Doflamingo blocker. I don't know if I like the 7-cost Doflamingo. I get what the deck's doing. It's bouncing. But it's kind of like, you have the Sogi King, which I know Doflamingo bounces more than the Sogi King does, but Sogi King is going to draw you some cards, man. There's no way around it. He's going to draw you into your Mihawk. Because if you're playing on the curve like you want to do with a deck like this, well, you know, 5 Dawn is like your one. I don't know what you're trying to do on 5. It really depends. There is no 5-cost card in this deck, so there's no, like, set play outside of what I said with Sentimaru, where maybe you pay his 3, or you do his 3 Dawn activation over there to get down a Pacifista, and then you're sitting on 2 Dawn for something. Yeah, there is no 2 Dawn card either. It just doesn't make sense. 5 is a weak spot in this deck, but then turn 7, you have Sogi King or Doflamingo, and then turn 9, or, you know, 7 Dawn, and then 9 Dawn, you have Dracula Mihawk. Yeah, it seems like there's a very big weak point in this deck where there's no 5 or 6 drop. Just at all. There is none. You have your Red Rock. You can dedicate the whole turn to Red Rock, but how good is that going to be against, like, a Law deck? How good is that going to be against Zoro when you just go, all right, turn 3, bounce your 1 cost, your 2, or your 3 cost? So, anyway, I like the direction of this deck. I do like the Blue Crocodile. I like this deck. I really do. I think it's very cool. And I think you're going to have a lot of bounce. And once you reach like turn 5 and turn 6, where you can actually, play Kaido with 10, right? And then return 4 Dawn to your Dawn deck and bounce another guy. You just, in one turn, bounced 3 of their characters off the board while still being able to swing for 5k with your leader, potentially with Crocodile to KO another. So it's like a 4-character swing potentially, or 5, I guess, because Kaido's coming down too. So a lot of stuff going on there that I think is really awesome. And I think the direction of this deck is heading there. So guys, please understand, when I get critical with these decks, I'm not saying the deck sucks or anything. Hey, it got first place at a little local store. It like what looks like a hobby store 8-person tournament. I'm not ranking on the deck, like trying to be mean. But I see weaknesses that I think they need to adjust and they need to fix. Whenever we have these deck techs, these deck evolutions, these meta watched style videos where I'm critiquing decks, I'm never trying to be mean or mean-spirited or rude or hateful. I'm never going to pick a deck that I think, oh, that deck's trash. Like, I'm not ever going to do that, because then it'd just be me ranking on a video. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to pick decks that I think are good, right? So when I offer these criticisms, I'm literally thinking like, oh man, if they added this to the deck, it might actually be top tier. You know what I mean? That's my logic, at least, right? Like, this could take the deck to the next level. There you go. I can finally summarize that perfectly. I am always trying to take these decks to the next level. So with that in mind, that's really all I'm trying to say, is I really think they can go down a Doflamingo for maybe even a 6-cost vanilla Mihawk, right? The 6-cost 8k vanilla Mihawk. And I really, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Pacifista package in this deck. Clearly it worked in some fashion, right? I mean, the person did well. They put this deck together for a reason. But that is the one criticism I'll offer, is I think it needs a little better mid-game. Like the turn 5, I keep saying turn 5, turn 6. I'm talking about when there's 5 resources and 6 resources. I would like to see an improvement to this deck where it has more 5 and 6, 5 and 6 cost options, or at least a turn 5 or 6 play where it's like, okay, Sentimaru that cheats out a Pacifista for 3, right? And now I still have 2 Dawn open to sit on a counter, to sit on a 2k counter, right? Like or a 2-cost counter. Like let me just bring up the I'll just bring them all up right here for the blue cards. Blue event. Okay. Excuse me. So, there's Overheat. Your leader or one of your characters gains plus 4,000 power in this battle. Then return 1 active character with the cost 3 or less to the owner's hand. Okay, there we go. There, right away, that's looking nice. I would love to see Overheat in the deck. Or even potentially some Sanji's Pilaf, by the way. Just randomly, I'm adding that because it would be nice to draw some cards, right? You don't have a lot of card draw in this deck. You have some recursion with Miss All Sunday, of course. And with Bo Hancock, if things go well, you do have some potential there for some card draw. But Sanji's Pilaf is a very nice tool for a deck like this. But moving on back to what I was saying with the 2 cost, or a 1 cost isn't a bad thing either. Like a 1 cost counter, like Usopp's Rubber Band of Doom or Gum Gum Giant Gavel. I don't recommend Gum Gum Giant Gavel for this deck, but you get my point. What else? There is the Baroque Works Searcher, the 1 cost event. Look at top 5 cards, grab a Baroque Works, and that's, well, there's not a lot to look up. Never mind, scratch that. We don't want that. We don't want that. Back to what we were saying. The 2 cost ones, y'all, everyone here pretty much knows them, but where's it called? Love Beam, and this one, Dragon Twister Demolition, the new OP-04 one that has plus 4,000, and then place up to 1 character that costs 1 or less the bottom of the owner's deck. The trigger returns to 6 or less to the owner's hand. So, you do have these other options. I would recommend Love Beam personally. I think Love Beam is right up that lane, so to speak, where you've got your leader up to 1 of your characters gains 4k, right? And then if you have 3 or less cards in hand, you can draw a card. So it's always, you always want to be able to draw cards. I don't know how else to say that. You just always want to get some more cards for the games that go to the late game, where where you're having a good game with someone, right? But overall, again, not trying to be too critical, I think this deck looks really cool. I love the decks that have a lot of bounce. Like, all right, bounce that guy out of my face, bounce him out of here, get him out of here, bounce, 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 and I'm gaining tempo. It's very similar. One thing I do like about the blue cards is it's very similar to the black cards in that they seem very tempo driven, right? Where you're dropping a guy that removes one of your opponent's guys, right? Whereas like the red and green cards, yeah, green has that to an extent too, right? If it's rested, yeah, it does have that. But red and green, I feel, are more about like, I'm just going to put down these bodies that are pretty frustrating to deal with, right? And then I'm just going to smash you turn by turn out of this game. But yeah, I think blue and black have a lot in common in the sense that they're dealing with cost, and they are just moving things, right? Like black is KOing, and blue is doing something even better. They're not KOing; they're putting something on the bottom of their of the owner's deck, right? With the red rocks, the 3,000 worlds, and the Mihawks. Now, yeah, some of these bounce to hand, but that's fine. It's nice to have some utility for your own cards, right? Absolutely. But yeah, just really cool design. We'll keep an eye on these Crocodile decks moving forward, of course. If you guys got any comments you want to leave in the comment section below, please don't hesitate. Leave them down there. Tell what you think. What would you add? What would you subtract? Whenever we're doing these deck techs, whenever we're doing these meta watch videos and deck evolution videos, deck critiques, whatever you want to call them, anytime you have a suggestion, please don't be afraid to leave it in the comment section below. I love reading that kind of stuff and brainstorming with other people. So, all right, hope you guys enjoyed, guys. And until next time, peace.